In 2025, we witnessed 2 blood moons, breathtaking auroras lighting up November, 3 supermoons in a row, and the stunning Comet A6 Lemon in October. Astronomically speaking, it was a year to remember. But hold on, 2026 is about to top all that. This year is set to be even crazier. We are looking at a calendar packed with 4 eclipses, a grand planetary parade, a potential naked-eye comet, and a celestial doubleheader that astronomers are already hailing as the event of the century. Here is your guide to the 7 most incredible things happening in the sky in 2026. Trust me, you do not want to miss these. The year of the eclipse. If you consider yourself an eclipse chaser, get ready for your busiest schedule in decades. The series kicks off on February 17th with an annular solar eclipse. This is the famous Ring of Fire, a phenomenon where the moon is too far from Earth to completely cover the sun, leaving a brilliant annulus of light visible around the edges. However, viewing this one will require some serious travel dedication. It is arguably the most remote eclipse possible, with the full ring visible only to those hanging out with the penguins near the South Pole. That said, skywatchers in Southern Africa and South America will still be treated to a significant partial eclipse. Shortly after, on March 3rd, the moon takes center stage with a total lunar eclipse. Unlike the remote solar event, this will be widely visible across the Americas, the Pacific, parts of Asia, Russia, and Australia. As the moon slides into the Earth's deep shadow, it will transform into a dark, rusty red orb, the classic blood moon. This transformation is one of nature's most captivating magic tricks. It happens because the Earth aligns perfectly between the sun and the moon. Instead of going pitch black, the moon glows red due to the Earth's atmosphere. Sunlight filters through our atmosphere, which scatters the shorter blue wavelengths while allowing the longer red wavelengths to bend around the planet and illuminate the lunar surface. This process, known as Rayleigh scattering, bathes the moon in a coppery light. This specific eclipse will be a long one, lasting 3 hours and 27 minutes with a total blood moon phase persisting for over an hour. However, the crown jewel of the year arrives on August 12, 2026. For the first time since 1999, a total solar eclipse will sweep across the European mainland. The path of totality is incredibly dramatic, beginning in the Arctic, crossing over Greenland and western Iceland, and finally plunging down into northern Spain. In these zones, the sun will vanish completely for 1 to 2 minutes. What makes this eclipse truly unique is its timing. In Spain, totality will occur late in the evening, just minutes before sunset. This means the eclipsed sun will be hanging precariously close to the horizon, creating what will likely be the photographer's dream of the decade. Finally, we wrap up the eclipse season on August 28 with a partial lunar eclipse. Think of this as a cool-down lap after the solar madness earlier in the month. It is a deep partial eclipse, meaning 93% of the moon will be obscured by shadow, leaving just a tiny silver sliver illuminated. It will be visible from the Americas, parts of Africa, and Europe. The Grand Planetary Parade. On February 28, 2026, the solar system is preparing to put on a show that truly defies the usual media exaggeration. We often see sensational headlines screaming about rare alignments that turn out to be underwhelming. But this event, dubbed the Grand Planetary Parade, actually lives up to the hype. We are talking about 6 distinct planets: Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, and Uranus, all strung out simultaneously across the evening sky. To catch this spectacle, timing is everything. You need to head outside roughly 30 to 45 minutes after sunset. Your target is the western horizon. If you are unsure of the exact positioning relative to your specific location, you can download a space app to calibrate your view. But the primary alignment will be unmistakable if you know where to look. The visual journey begins low on the horizon with Mercury and Venus. Venus will be impossible to miss. It will be blazing bright, serving as the most brilliant speck of light in the entire sky. Mercury, however, plays a harder game. It will be significantly fainter and positioned much lower than Venus, meaning you will need a totally clear, unobstructed view of the horizon to spot it before it sets. As you shift your gaze higher up and toward the south, you will encounter Saturn. The ringed planet will be glowing with a distinctive, steady yellow-gold hue. Intriguingly, it has a companion. Right next to Saturn, situated in the constellation Pisces, is Neptune. However, keep in mind that Neptune is too faint to be seen with the naked eye, so you will likely just see Saturn standing alone unless you have optical aid. The parade culminates in the high southern sky, dominated by the gas giant Jupiter. But Jupiter isn't alone. If you have a pair of binoculars, you can scan the dark patch of sky between Jupiter and the famous Pleiades star cluster. If you look closely, you will find the faint green dot of Uranus hiding there. Completing this cosmic picture is a waxing gibbous moon, which will be hanging right next to Jupiter, acting like the crown jewel of this magnificent planetary necklace. The Christmas supermoon. Just when you might think the year has exhausted its supply of celestial wonders, 26 saves a final dazzling piece of magic for the very end of the calendar. On December 24th, Christmas Eve itself, we are going to witness the largest and most impressive supermoon of the entire year. While supermoon might sound like a buzzword invented by marketers to generate clicks, it actually has a specific and rigorous astronomical definition grounded in orbital mechanics. The moon does not travel around the Earth in a perfect circle. Its path is actually an ellipse or an oval shape. This means that once every month, it reaches a point in its orbit called perigee, which is its absolute closest approach to our planet. When that moment of perigee lines up perfectly with a full moon phase, you get the phenomenon known as a supermoon. On this specific holiday night, the cosmic geometry is exceptional. The moon will be positioned roughly 221,600 miles away from Earth. To put that figure into perspective, that is about 16,800 miles closer than its average distance. The visual result of this proximity is striking. To the naked eye, the lunar disk will appear about 14% larger in diameter and, perhaps even more noticeably, it will shine a staggering 30% brighter than a micromoon, which occurs when the moon is at its furthest point. The timing also adds to the spectacle. Because this event takes place in late December, deep in the winter for the northern hemisphere, the moon will follow a very high trajectory across the sky, culminating high overhead around midnight like a celestial spotlight. However, the most dramatic view will likely be right at sunset. The famous moon illusion will be in full effect as the orb climbs above the horizon. This optical trick makes the low-hanging moon look absolutely massive when viewed against a foreground of trees, mountains, or city buildings. If you are a photographer, this is your golden opportunity to capture that iconic shot of a massive glowing moon rising behind a lit-up church steeple or a snowy city skyline. For everyone else, it simply serves as the perfect natural nightlight, adding a wonderful atmospheric glow to the holiday celebrations. The Wildcard Comet. Every great celestial show needs an element of unpredictability, a wild card that defies the rigid schedules of eclipses and planetary orbits. For 2026, that role is being played by Comet C 2025 R3, Pan-Stars. Comets are notoriously difficult to forecast. In fact, astronomers have a favorite saying that compares them to cats. They both have tails, and they both do precisely whatever they want. Despite this reputation for chaos, the preliminary data on this specific visitor is looking incredibly promising. We know that this is a long-period comet hailing from the frozen depths of the outer solar system. This means it is likely making its maiden voyage through our cosmic neighborhood, its first and only trip through the inner solar system before vanishing again. The comet is set to reach its perihelion, its closest point to the Sun, around April 20th, 2026. If we rely on standard brightness models, the comet is predicted to reach magnitude 7 or 8. In astronomical terms, that makes it a respectful target for those equipped with good binoculars, but it would remain invisible to the unaided eye. However, there is a twist in the orbital geometry that has scientists buzzing with excitement. It involves a rare phenomenon known as forward scattering. In late April, the comet's path will take it almost directly between the Earth and the Sun. To understand why this matters, think of the experience of driving a car directly into the sunset with a dirty windshield. Normally, the dust on the glass is invisible, but when backlit by the intense sun, it suddenly lights up and becomes blindingly bright. The dust in the comet's tail could interact with sunlight in the exact same way. The sun's rays will backlight the dust particles, scattering the light forward toward Earth and potentially boosting the comet's brightness by huge factors. If this rare geometric lineup pays off, the comet's brightness could jump significantly to magnitude 3 or 4. This would cross the crucial threshold, making it visible to the naked eye without the need for any optical aid. If you want to catch this potential spectacle, you will need to look for it in the twilight, hanging low on the horizon. The viewing window depends on your location. For observers in the northern hemisphere, it will appear as a morning object in the east, while those in the southern hemisphere should look west in the evening. Even if it doesn't undergo a massive outburst, it remains a beautiful target. You should look for a fuzzy grayish star accompanied by a short tail, suspended in the deep blue glow of the twilight sky. A cosmic doubleheader. I am going to make a bold claim. August 12, 2026 will be the best night for meteor watching in a decade. We are all familiar with the Perseids. They are a reliable shower, producing 60 to 100 meteors per hour every summer. However, the moon usually ruins the party, washing out up to 90% of the shooting stars. But in 2026, the universe has aligned perfectly. Remember that total solar eclipse mentioned earlier on August 12th. A solar eclipse can only happen during a new moon. This means that on the night of August 12th and the morning of August 13th, the moon is completely invisible. You will have 100% dark skies. This is critical because it allows you to see the faint, delicate meteors you usually miss. If you can get to a dark sky site, you could realistically count over 100 shooting stars per hour. It is a double header, a total solar eclipse by day and a moonless meteor storm by night. The Great Conjunction. On June 9, 2026, the two brightest objects in the night sky, other than the moon, are going to meet up. This is the Jupiter-Venus conjunction. While planetary conjunctions happen often, a meeting between these two is special because of their sheer brilliance. Venus shines at a dazzling magnitude 4, while Jupiter glows a creamy gold at magnitude 1.9. On this night, they will be separated by just 1.6 degrees. To visualize that, hold your pinky finger out at arm's length. That covers roughly 1 degree. So, these two planetary giants will be separated by a distance just slightly wider than your pinky finger. You won't need a telescope. Just look west about 45 minutes after sunset. They will appear like a pair of headlights in the constellation Gemini, popping out of the twilight long before the stars appear. The grand finale, 2026, ends exactly the way it started, with a massive planetary alignment. As the holiday week unfolds in late December, we get an encore performance. 5 planets, Mars, Jupiter, Uranus, Saturn, and Neptune, will appear together in the night sky. The dates to mark are December 25th and 26th. On Christmas night and Boxing Day, a distinct diagonal line of planets will form above the eastern horizon. The lineup includes Mars, the giant Jupiter, and a waning gibbous moon rising together and traveling across the sky until dawn. While Uranus and Neptune will require binoculars, Mars and Jupiter will be bright and obvious. And just as Saturn and Neptune begin to set in the pre-dawn hours, Venus will soar above the eastern horizon, creating a second mini-alignment right before sunrise. It is a poetic end to the year, our celestial neighbors taking a final bow before 2027 begins.